is Samara Coman.
And my name is Mia Torgan.
We'd like to welcome you to our 4th episode on LMTV Live.
Today we are set to interview Mr. Christian Hoffman.
Yes, Mr. Hoffman is a popular as well as a really entertaining history teacher at Lower Moreland High School. He teaches world studies, U.S. histories, and criminal justice, to name a few.
Today we are hoping he could walk us through a very interesting and unique topic. One rarely talks about it, but analysis and commentators contend that buildings, monuments, and other structures can bring a community together, especially in times of tragedy, dissent, and turmoil.
Should be really interesting, Mia. I've been looking forward to this interview. Since we are still in a pandemic, masks are required inside school buildings, so this should be a classic as well as a historical interview for future generations to look back on. Here we go. Let's find Mr. Hoffman.
Hi, Ms. Hoffman. Thank you for joining us today on Lower Moreland TV Live. Before we get to our first point, we were hoping you could tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been here at Lower Moreland High School, and what got you first interested in history?
Well, I've been passionate about history since I was a little boy. It's not often that someone can really fulfill their lifelong dream. Usually you have to compromise, and you have to maybe work in a field that is not your first choice, but it's just kind of what you have to do. But I've wanted to be a history teacher since I was in 5th grade, and my interest in history goes back even before that. I guess it all started when I was about 7, when I opened up a book about the American presidents, and I looked at it and I read it over and over and over again. And I memorized the presidents, and it just went on from there. I've had a desire to inspire interest in history in young people since I was a child myself, and I'm happy that I can do that every day. I've been at LM teaching here for 5 years. I've been in the building longer than that. I was a special ed aide prior to teaching here, but this is my 5th year teaching, and I love every minute of it. You know, best job in the world, best kids in the world. Enjoy every minute of every day.
So, Mr. Hoffman, many within our community, especially the students, are looking at the new build as a sort of new beginning. Can a building, brick and mortar, really bring people together?
Yes, and it's kind of funny how an inanimate object like a building can be a symbol of change, a symbol of hope, a symbol of rejuvenation. But yes, that can happen. That most definitely. Hopefully our new high school will follow that same pattern.
Do you think the French could have ever imagined with an international impact their gift, the Statue of Liberty, went globally? What would this come to mean for so many people?
I think they had an idea. Now, in the case of the Statue of Liberty, that was supposed to be presented to the United States on its centennial, but there were delays for various reasons. There was a war in France back in the 1870s that delayed that being built and sent to the U.S. So I think originally, yeah, to an extent, to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the United States and to celebrate American independence and to demonstrate how the example of the American patriots kind of spread out throughout the rest of the world and inspire other revolutions and democracy and other various changes. But I don't think that the French could have fully anticipated the connection to the new immigrants that came to the U.S. in the 1880s, 1890s, and afterward. I don't think they fully could grasp that, how that became like an actual beacon, not just metaphorically, but literally a light that was shining for these new immigrants coming from all around the world, from Europe, from Africa, from Asia, to a place that maybe provided more hope, more freedom, democracy, economic opportunity, those types of things.
What about nationally, Mr. Hoffman? Is there any specific structure that comes to mind that had a similar impact on people of the United States exclusively?
Yes, I would go with the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. And there are, as you might know, there are all sorts of memorials on the wall in Washington, but the Lincoln Memorial is kind of the center point of all that. Built originally to commemorate the life of Abraham Lincoln and the emancipation of the slaves and the sacrifice of so many Americans during the Civil War. But in the years since, it has become a general symbol of freedom and hope. I mean, that was sort of the focal point during World War II when we were fighting tyranny and oppression from across the ocean from various countries, from Nazi Germany, Japan, and Italy. Obviously, a symbol of hope during the Civil Rights Movement. Dr. King speaking on the steps at that memorial.
I have a dream My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
Even in recent times, for example, when Barack Obama was elected president, he had a concert prior to his inauguration at that memorial. Now you can debate whether or not he fulfilled those promises, and your opinions on him might vary, but Barack Obama's people chose that site as sort of a symbol of a new beginning once he took office in 2009.
Now Lower Moreland Township and Lower Moreland Township School District are small, but its history here extends back to a land grant William Penn gave Dr. Nicholas Moore, hence Moreland Township, which later becomes Lower Moreland Township in 1916. What about this community? What would you say is the structure that brought this community together, and do you think the new Lower Moreland High School can have a similar impact?
Well, there is, I guess I would call it a structure, but it's also more of a symbolic idea. And unfortunately, this has its roots in some tragedy. One of the worst train crashes on the East Coast in American history happened right in this community, Renathan. In fact, the 100th anniversary of this train crash is coming up next month in December. So, and various descendants of victims of the train crash and other people interested in local history attend a memorial every year, and it's really going to be big this year because it's the centennial, as a way of remembering the victims and trying to come together in the face of tragedy. There is a memorial headstone, I believe, at a cemetery in Churchville, so not right here, but in the area, that has all the victims' names listed on it, so that way people remember, right? Because things that happened 100 years ago, eventually that fades into memory, and we start to risk losing that connection to the past. But that is a permanent symbol of a situation that unfortunately cost people lives, but it's a way to remember things that happened in the past, and also a way to remember how people in the community came together even in the face of that tragedy. I know that Abington Hospital has a deep connection to that incident because the doctors and nurses treated victims of the train crash there, as a way kind of getting the community back involved. As that connects to the new high school building, I mean, we've gone through as a country and as a community some tough times over the last year or two. The pandemic happening and various strife going on just in this community alone, not to mention the rest of the country. So I think that a new high school in general could be a symbol of renewal, renaissance, if you will. Okay, a change maybe for the better, that we can leave. I'm not sure if I'd say leave the past behind, but understand that progress happens. It's slow, sometimes it's painful, but it still happens. And to connect what we went through in the past to hopefully a brighter future.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman, for your time and for sharing these amazing snapshots in history with us today. We are looking forward to touching base with you again soon. And to our viewers at home and online, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on our website. Send us your thoughts, questions, concerns, and suggestions. We want to hear from you. Email us at thenewlmhsdocumentaryteam@gmail.com.